We got a new Pat CC video, man, that he has cooking up. From #1 Billboard to prison, the scams of Sean Kingston.
Being a #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 is something most artists will never do in their entire career. Sean Kingston did it with his debut single at age 17, but today he is in federal prison. Instead of using his talents to create more timeless art, the musician put all of his effort into fraud, forged wire transfers, and luxury scams. Sean became so deeply entrenched into this world of crime that his own mother got involved, and now she is actually serving a longer sentence in prison than him. Then again, when you're 15 years old and sleeping in a car while your mom is behind bars for bank fraud, it's safe to say that the odds are stacked against you. Unfortunately, this is the exact situation that an undiscovered Sean Kingston found himself in.
What?
Sean was no stranger to crime during his years growing up in Jamaica, catching himself a breaking and entering charge at only 11 years old. But thanks to his roots, he was no stranger to the power of music either. His grandfather was Jack Ruby, a well-known reggae producer who worked with the likes of Bob Marley. Sean was inspired by his grandfather's story and saw music as a way out of his situation.
My mom left, I was on my own. You know, and it forced me to become a man early and to get on my job. And I always said to myself that when my mom get out of jail, like, I'm gonna be picking her up in her dream car. Like,
with a one-way plane ticket and $300 in his pocket, Sean went to LA at just 17 years old, where he slept on couches of distant relatives and old family friends. He began posting his songs to MySpace under the name Franchise in hopes of getting noticed, and eventually he did.
Really?
Record producer J.R. Rodham saw potential in the 17-year-old and signed him.
I did not know that's how it happened. Wow. Shout out MySpace, even though that shit don't even exist anymore. You know what I mean?
To his label Beluga Heights. Sean got to work on a full-length rap album under the name Franchise, but everything...
The thing is, bro, chat, like, the internet was such, like, a simpler place back then. Like, I would rather probably prefer to use MySpace than fucking any other social media app. Cause, bro, shit is so toxic on that shit, bro. Like, man, hell no, bro, hell no.
Would be scrapped when his producers heard him sing for the first time.
And overnight, they decided to change the entire Franchise rap album into a singing album because this dude sang and they didn't realize that he could sing. And they changed Franchise's name to Sean Kingston.
This decision would shift the entire trajectory of his career. His debut single was called Beautiful Girls, and it released at the perfect time. Billboard had just begun incorporating digital sales into their charts, giving Sean...
Wow. At a perfect time, man. This nigga lucky.
...on a huge edge. Initially, he debuted at 83 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it would skyrocket to the #1 spot with the formula.
You telling me this shit... You telling me this song beat Hey There Delilah and Big Girls Don't Cry? Nah, this nigga was him. What?
Change. It remained at the #1 spot for 4 weeks, dethroning the Plain White T's Hey There Delilah, and charted ahead of other legendary artists like
Umbrella, The Way I Are. Look. Yeah, this nigga him. This nigga was him.
Timbaland, Fergie, and Rihanna. The success from Beautiful Girls would carry into his debut self-titled album, which contributed other hits like Take You There and Me Love. Plus,
alright, so he wasn't a one-hit wonder, bet.
Real ones agree that Take You There is actually better than Beautiful Girls, but whatever. The album peaked at #6 on the Billboard.
Let's listen to it. I'm gonna cut this out in the YouTube video, but let's listen to this, bro.
Shorty, I could take you there.
Billboard 200 and was contributed other hits like Take You There and Me Love. Plus, real ones agree that Take You There is actually better than Beautiful Girls, but whatever. The album peaked at #6 on the Billboard 200 and was certified gold within a few months. Sean Kingston was the hot new up-and-comer with a fresh take on melodic, rap, R&B, and a sprinkle of Caribbean influence. He was invited to open up on tour for artists like Gwen Stefani and Beyonce, and even got to share the stage with Chris Brown, Lil Mama, Bow Wow, and Soulja Boy at Madison Square Garden in December of 2007. time. Sean went from sleeping in cars on the streets of Jamaica to performing one of the most coveted stages in the entertainment industry at only 17 years old. With fame like this, money followed. Sean now had the rapper lifestyle he could only dream of as a kid. Nice.
Oh my god, I forgot. He has a stupid ass chain, bro. Like somebody made this stupid ass chain for him, but fucking crayons. Honestly, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool chain, but like crayons, nigga, crayons. Like it could have been any design, but he chose crayons.
Cars, watches, and clothes symbolizing his success as an artist. Many artists believe this type of fame and success will last forever, but sadly, this was the peak of Sean's career, and it was only going to go downhill from here. I've been looking to find.
Damn, for real? Like there was no more peaks after that? Damn. Sad.
The best deal on Thunder tickets, which is why I want to give this tickets.
I bought like five of them.
Thank you, SeatGeek. After a couple of years,
I bought like 5 SeatGeeks.
Touring across the globe.
Oh shit.
Sean dropped his sophomore album titled Tomorrow in September of 2009. Much like his previous record, the album had some standout tracks such as Fire Burnin', which spent 21 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 5 on the charts. The album itself was much less successful, peaking at 37 on the Billboard 200 before dropping off the list entirely 5 weeks later. However, Sean clearly had an immense talent for writing music and found other ways to top the charts. He co-wrote Jason Derulo's song What You Say, which also peaked at number 1, meaning Sean Kingston technically has 2 #1 hits. He then collaborated with Justin Bieber on the track Eeny Meeny, which spent 18 weeks on the Billboard charts and peaked at number 15. And this could have been a great lane for Sean to just go all the way in on. The life cycle of a popular artist is really difficult to predict. Songwriters can have much longer careers because they don't have to tour or maintain a brand, but that spotlight strokes the ego, and Sean didn't think it would ever fade. Unfortunately, life threw an unexpected twist when Sean was hospitalized after a nearly fatal jet ski accident.
I was going
No.
75 miles per hour. And as I got close, jet ski doesn't have any brakes. So as I got close, I tried to, try to slow down because I knew I couldn't make it under because the tide got high. It looked like I could have I could have went under, but as I got close to it, I started noticing that the tide, it was rising up. So I started going 75 miles per hour like that guy. And then I hit the bridge. I hit a bridge and I tore my aorta, which is the tube that connects to your heart.
On top of his torn aorta, he had a broken jaw, wrist, and ribs. After 2 separate heart surgeries and 23 days in the hospital, Sean walked out alive and well. Sean worked hard to live a lifestyle where he could party all day.
Damn, 23 days, bro. Bro, all of that could have ended that night, bro. Like that day, bro. Crazy.
And ride jet skis as much as he wanted, but now that same lifestyle he fought for had nearly killed him. But that still did not stop him from throwing ragers at his mansion and getting sued for all the hole-covered walls he left behind when he moved out. Sean could have walked away from this accident with the realization that he was moving too fast, but it seems like that wasn't enough to teach him that lesson. After 4 years without a full-length release, Sean came back with his 3rd album, Back to Life, in 2013. The album had a standout single, Beat It, featuring Chris Brown and Wiz Khalifa, started at 52, although the full-length LP failed to even touch the Billboard 200 charts and received generally negative reviews from critics. And this isn't surprising considering Sean is more of a singles artist. He wasn't known for cohesive and immersive albums like Kanye West or even Chris Brown, who built bodies of work that fans consumed from front to back. Sean's success lived and died on the strength of singles, songs that dominated radio, lit up the clubs, and soundtracked the summer. And that's the danger of being a singles-driven artist. You need a constant stream of hits to stay relevant. Every summer, every radio cycle, every club, you have to deliver another anthem or the industry moves on. It had been 6 years since his peak, and Sean was not able to keep up with the modern club sound. But that doesn't mean he was in a tough spot financially or had to go back to sleeping in his car. He had built a lasting legacy and generational wealth for himself and his family. Even then, he still had a loyal audience willing to follow his journey and the skills to continue writing music for himself and other artists. But it wasn't necessarily just about the money for Sean. It was about the status, the the luxuries. And now that he was losing that, he became desperate and would embark on a life of crime just to maintain this lifestyle. Early cracks began to show in 2012 when it was revealed that Sean owed over $130,000 to the IRS after failing to pay his taxes in 2009. Of course, rappers and hip-hop artists aren't particularly known for their love of paying taxes, but headlines discussing Sean's finances became more pervasive than headlines about his music, like when he had a run-in with law enforcement in the Dominican Republic in March of 2014. Hoping to have a fun Saturday night, Sean and his friends went to a nightclub called Euphoria, where they ran up a nearly $9,000 tab buying drinks and smoking hookahs. When the night came to an end, Sean and his crew left without paying the bill, and the employees promptly called the police. Local law enforcement was able to track down Sean and his friends and inform them that if they didn't pay their bill, they would be arrested and forbidden to leave the country. Sean was deeply apologetic and explained that the managers had promised to take care of him and assumed that meant his service would be complimentary. He returned later that night and paid the tab in full. Now, of course, this could have been just a big misunderstanding. However, you will notice that even small things like this were an insight into Sean's sneaky, scammy, sinister pattern of behavior. A few months later in August, Sean was sued for over $1 million by a jewelry seller named Avi the Jeweler. The two had a business relationship dating all the way back to 2008, where Sean had picked up a bunch of different jewelry items, including a $35,000 44-carat watch, a $150,000 custom pendant with his initials, and a diamond-encrusted Jesus piece, with the total price being over $200,000. Avi was given 7 different checks that were supposed to cover all the costs, but they all bounced when he tried to cash them out. Sean had also borrowed a $12,000 ring and he never returned it, bringing the grand total to approximately $226K, but Avi wanted more in punitive damages. And even though initially Sean and his team said that this was just incorrect, they never even bothered to fight the lawsuit, resulting in the judge defaulting on the case and ordered him to pay out $356,000 in damages to Avi. Now, losing out on money like that should have taught Sean a valuable lesson, but things only managed to get worse, and his run-ins with jewelers became more and more frequent and somehow more bizarre. Sean
like why, bro? Like why? Like why try to do some shit like this? Like why? Like why? Like, I don't get it, bro.
Filed a report to the Los Angeles Police Department alleging that he had been kidnapped during a jewelry deal gone wrong. After getting a $225,000
Don't piss me off.
watch from a business called Avion Jewelers, Sean got a bad case of buyer's remorse. He paid out $185K worth of installments before refusing to pay another cent, believing that the watch he bought wasn't worth the price that he was being charged. This obviously caused conflict between him and the jeweler, so they decided to set up an in-person meeting to solve the issue. And like most legitimate business deals, the meeting took place in a downtown Los Angeles parking lot on a random Tuesday night at 2 in the morning. What could possibly go wrong? Sean got in the car with the intention of returning the watch and swapping it for a different piece. That's when one of the jeweler's crew members snatched the watch from his hands, locked the car, drove him away from the parking lot, and dumped him in a back alley. Sean tweeted, "Love all the fans, I'm okay and safe. It just hurts to work so hard for something and have someone thinking they can just take it from you." While this seems like wise words we can all agree with, this is incredibly ironic coming from the guy who is actively entrenched in a life of scamming others. However, when Sean tried to pursue justice through the legal system, the investigating officers found the entire situation to be extremely suspicious and felt that the case was best suited for a civil court. But Sean decided he wasn't going to take the case to court, and that seems strange on the surface. Then it starts to make sense when you take a closer look. You see, rumors about Sean's potential financial struggles had been rising around the time his Bentley G-Wagon and Lamborghini were repossessed. It became even more clear that Sean was in a tough spot after he got sued by his own lawyer. Supposedly, Sean had racked up a
Like, oh my goodness, bro. Like, problem after problem after problem, bro. Problem after problem after problem. I feel like there's like a similar case with like another person he did a video on. I can't remember who it was. It was like an actor, bro. It was an actor. It usually be like child actors too, bro. Like they'll have like shit like this happen to them. Like where they'll always constantly spend money. All that, bro.
$17,000 bill from James Gangitano for legal services provided sometime in May of 2013. Now, being broke and trying to get one over on a jewelry dealer, it almost makes sense, but
I just realized. Never mind.
scamming your own lawyer takes a special kind of stupid. With his repossessed sports cars and seemingly an empty bank account, Sean had hit rock bottom financially. But now he was in too deep. Watching everything he built slip away only inspired him to do whatever he could to maintain this flashy rapper lifestyle. He kept scamming and he kept getting sued for it. In March of 2016, a new lawsuit against Sean was filed by Haymoff Jewelers. Sean had traded in a used Rolex for a new $59,000 watch and a $19,000 bracelet, but never paid off the remaining $25,000 balance, despite promising to pay the next day. Judge ruled in the jeweler's favor and ordered Sean to pay out $44,000 in restitution. From here, Sean just kept racking up lawsuits like it was his full-time job. August of 2016, he was sued by another New York City jeweler named Aquamaster, who alleged that he had a $300,000 tab that had gone unpaid. After
This is just disappointing, bro. Honestly, chat.
picking up 9 different pieces of jewelry, he claimed that his manager would send a wire transfer for the full amount. Instead, they received 2 checks, both of which bounced. Sean got sued by yet another jeweler in April of 2017 who claimed that Sean bought a $46,000 Rolex with 10 grand up front, but sent checks for the remaining amount that also ended up bouncing. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record with me basically telling the same story over and over again, but that's just the reality of Sean Kingston's life at this point. It had been over a decade since Beautiful Girls had topped the charts, and now the only thing being discussed in interviews were his legal troubles.
Different situations as far as your jewelry, right? That, like, of course, all the jewelers seem to always be coming after you with lawsuits and things like that. Like, why is it that they keep on coming after you? Always some tricky stuff to it. Like, what is going on with that?
I have paperwork with every jeweler that I ever did business with. When I go to a jeweler, I say, okay, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, 350,000. My bad, it'll come to more than 350. It'll come to like 3 something, like 380. I'll give them 350. And they'll say you have a balance, so the rest of the 30,000, you're gonna do in payments. If I'm late on one payment, it's not I'm late on the payment because I don't have the money to pay you. I'm late on the payment because my mom handles my business and she's all over the place doing a million things at once because I don't have a business manager. So when I'm late on that payment, it's not like I can't pay for it. No, the money is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I live in a house, I pay $35,000 a month. That's over $300,000 a year.
Yeah, you do have an elevator in your crib.
I do have an elevator in my crib. So how is Sean Kingston broke? I have 4 properties I own in Port St. Lucie. One in Tampa, 3 in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Like, I have money coming in, but it's just that these people are very, very, and no disrespect to jewelers, but they're.
Then tell your mom to help out with the jewelry, no?
Are very, very money hungry, and they only look at clients as a dollar sign, and that's not right.
Sean's life at this point is essentially trying to prove to anyone and everyone that he is good for the money, but we know that was a lie. During the court trial with his former lawyer, Sean was ordered to reveal all of his personal financial information. Within these court documents, Sean confessed that he owned no property or vehicles and was currently living with his mother. His bank statement showed one account with only $6.96 and 2 other accounts that were both in the negative. Sean was broke, but that didn't mean he was exempt from future litigation. A judge ordered Sean to pay out another $300,000 to settle his case with Aquamaster Jeweler. It was also reported in late 2020 that a warrant was placed for Sean's arrest on charges of grand theft after failing to pay for jewelry that was delivered to his home. Sean's legacy went from a chart-topping pop star to a relentless scammer. With no money and facing hundreds of thousands of dollars in court costs, it's a miracle that Sean wasn't locked up.
He even looks like a scammer
for skipping out on payments. It's also a miracle that he found a way to get one last chance to turn his life around, but he ruined it. Despite being irrelevant for a decade, he managed to sign a multi-million-dollar record deal with Empire Records.
You know what? I'm all cleared up. You know what I'm saying? I don't owe nobody no jewelry. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Right. I got like I said, I did a $4.2 million deal with Empire. You know what I mean? And I'm blessed.
And another thing too, when we talk about like,
and as soon as I got that, I started clearing up all this because I ain't want no karma. I believe in karma and I believe in doing. You feel me? So I made sure the first thing I did was just clear up a lot of the stuff that I needed to, you know?
Unsurprisingly, Sean's 2022 album, Road to Deliverance, saw no placements on the charts and next to no traction on streaming services. It was an utter failure. And although that stings, he was able to use his record deal money to pay off his debts. Somehow, throughout all these scams, he was able to avoid jail or brutal retaliation from someone he wronged. But the pressure to maintain this rapper lifestyle was too high. Sean had grown too comfortable with the jewelry, the expensive nightclubs, the mansions by the beach. At first, it seemed like a little tax slip up, a nightclub misunderstanding, or a bad deal with a jeweler. But the pattern became undeniable. He had gotten away with it for far too long, and that desperation eventually led him to the one place he thought he'd never be, in federal prison.
Now, a very active scene outside of a home connected to rapper Sean Kingston. Dozens of deputies have been going in and out all day long, and now we've learned his mother,
Rapper Chet,
has been arrested.
The indictment alleges a pattern of behavior from April of 2023 to March of 2024 in which Sean and his mother intentionally defrauded a handful of different businesses with false promises and forged wire transfers. It claims that Sean would reach out to various businesses through social media platforms like Instagram and use his status as a celebrity to persuade the businesses to make special exceptions for him, typically in the form of discounts, lowered down payments, or simply allowing him to pay for the products after they were provided. They would send forged documents under the guise of legitimate bank transfer receipts before ignoring and disregarding future requests for payment. Most notable of these at the time was his defrauding of Verver Entertainment, which supplied Sean with a 232-inch colossal TV and surround sound system, one which he never paid for. Sean reached out to the company in September of 2023 on IG, claiming he needed the biggest TV they had for his house and claimed it was going to be featured in an upcoming music video with Justin Bieber. Sean told the business owner, Ariel Mateos, "We're gonna go viral and shut the internet down. I hope you're ready. Watch how many new customers you get from doing this with me. Mark my words. Your life is gonna change after this. Watch and see, my brother." The full agreement was for Sean to pay $47,000 upon completion, receiving a social media agreement discount with a smaller down payment of just $30,000. Ariel and his crew began installing the TV and sound system in Sean's home, providing updates over text, and fully completed the project on December 17th. However, as days went by, Ariel tried to get in contact with Sean, but was ignored. On the off chance Sean did respond, he would just make excuses and try to brush the conversation away. Ariel was growing rightfully impatient. Not getting paid for your services would be more than enough to frustrate someone, but he also needed to pay his manufacturers for the materials used for the TV, and he was running out of time. Eventually, Sean sent a document that appeared to be a bank transfer for $40,000, although this was still $7,000 short of their agreement, but it didn't even matter anyways because this document was completely forged and the wire never hit Ariel's bank account. Sean invited Ariel and his team over 2 separate times to pick up a check for the money, but turned away both times by his cousin, who claimed that no one was home. Ariel was in frequent contact with Sean's mother as well, who was also being difficult to work with and delaying payment. After over a month, countless false promises, and $47,000 left unpaid, Ariel's patience had officially run out. He writes, "I'm suing you all. Sean is a scammer, and not a very smart one. My lawyer has everything ready to file. I'm suing everyone, and we will make it public. There are no more chances. You won't play with our time anymore. You will pay up to the last penny, the full price of the screen, without any discount, as you also breached the part where you were supposed to promote and advertise for us. We trusted in Sean. We waited more than we should." And while Ariel was filing that lawsuit, Sean would get wrapped up in another one for doing basically the exact same thing. In March of 2024, Sean reached out to Andrei Nikolenko asking to purchase.
Like, brother, like, can he, like, just stop? Oh my god, bruh. I accidentally muttered.
Listed at $342,000. He promised to pay with a wire transfer the same day he got the watch, and Andrei generously offered him a complimentary Rolex watch on top of the Richard Mille he was purchasing. Sean also mentions that he was shooting a music video with Justin Bieber, suggesting that he possibly would be interested in shopping with the jeweler. And at this point, Justin Bieber's got to sue Sean Kingston as well. Bro worked with him one time 15 years ago, and he was scamming people for TVs and watches over it. Sean was excited about the potential business relationship he was creating, and called Andre a brother for life, offering loyalty and promising to take his company to the next level. He even promised that Justin Bieber would be purchasing stuff from his store that weekend. He even went as far to promise that Sean would only purchase watches from him moving forward, but of course, this was all a lie. Sean decided to put in orders for more extremely expensive watches, bringing the grand total to $480,000, which Sean's mother supposedly paid for by providing proof of a Bank of America transfer statement. Take a look at Sean's manipulative behavior here. You can see he's making demands to make sure the watch is perfect. But bro, please let this watch fit tomorrow, lengthwise. Dealer says 44mm will be there tomorrow. I know, I'm saying I hope the links fit my wrist size, brother. Dealer says everything will be perfect. Then he lets Sean know that he needs the money so he can pay his suppliers, because they will not provide him with watches anymore if he doesn't pay them. Sean says, "King, I trusted you. Please do the same. Please, I won't let you down. I believe in God. Payment will not be an issue. I got you. I told you this from the start. I'm with you, Papa. You're my brother. I will never hurt you. Bring my AP tomorrow and we'll close it out tomorrow. Mom and Ryan will pay you. Love you for life. See you tomorrow." This is the type of relationship that Sean had with Andre and probably all of his other jewelry dealers. And much like all the others, Andre finally had his tipping point. He said, "Listen to me. Tell your lawyer and don't forget to pay him. Soon you'll be talking to him through bars, asking him to defend you from federal charges. Your mama gave a fake bank receipt and you are holding watches that don't belong to you. There are 3 cases already, so the next step is the media and the news. You messed with the wrong people." Seemed like Andre had finally found out that Sean had 3 separate cases against him that were already pending from him scamming all these different people. These cases are all extremely similar in nature. You know, he's promising to work with Justin Bieber, he's promising promotion, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm a millionaire, I got you, oh, I love you, you're my friend, you're my brother." So I'll spare you all the tiny details, but this is kind of the spark notes. Sean sent a receipt from First Republic Bank totaling $50,000 for a vehicle. He sent a $285,000 Bank of America receipt for a watch, and a nearly $160,000 wire transfer receipt for another luxury car. All of these documents were fake, and all of the victims filed lawsuits. Sean even scammed a company called Murray out of an $86,000 custom bed. When Sean was running out on bar tabs and sending bounce checks to jewelers back in 2014, you could have made the argument that they were just simple mistakes. But now it was clear that Sean wasn't just forgetful or unorganized with his finances. All of this was calculated. This explains why the raid didn't just end in arrests. It resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stolen goods being removed from the home. Sean knew what he was doing and he thought he could get away with it forever. The investigation also allowed authorities to search through both Sean and his mother's phones, revealing their behind-the-scenes operations. So if you still had any doubt that any of this wasn't intentional, this will easily put those thoughts to rest. His mother writes, "Lawyer said if one more jeweler says anything, they will treat it as a criminal case. You owe 4 new jewelers and ain't got no money for no more. Please do this last one, mother. I'ma give you other watches back. But I don't have money to pay, dude, Sean. It's $120K. What's up with you and all this jewelry, bro? Focus on your craft. All 36 songs gotta be turned in by December 31st and you only have 18, while you're worried about watches." These conversations give a good look into the dynamic of Sean and his mother, allowing us to speculate on how they got to this point. I find it hilarious that even his mom is like, "Alright, we gotta chill, bro. Like, get in the booth, bro. Get in the studio. Make some songs." Then again, considering Janice's previous convictions relating to bank fraud and filing false documents, she may have been running the show. She knew he was clearly addicted to scamming and acquiring all of these luxury things that he did not need, but since she was highly experienced in forging documents, she helped him get his fix. Therefore, she's complicit and just as guilty as him. She worked with 2 individuals named Mark Mosqueda and another named Ryan Music that she facilitated these forged documents with. Within these conversations, she made her intentions very clear with her doing shady business. "Can you do this receipt so I can have them leave me the F alone? Do Bank of America, $285K. It's my people," just to shut him up. The evidence couldn't be any more clear. Both Sean and his mother Janice willingly and intentionally scammed a plethora of different business owners with false promises and forged documents. They were found guilty for a heap of different financial crimes. Janice was sentenced to 5 years in prison with 3 years of probation, and Sean was sentenced to 42 months or 3.5 years behind bars. A heartbroken Sean Kingston burst into tears as U.S. Marshals took his mother into custody, begging them to protect her. Sean's legal representation chalked up the situation to his ignorance on money management and claimed that he was addicted to buying jewelry. Of course, none of these are valid excuses. abuse. When you're addicted, you go to rehab. When you have a lot of money, you hire someone to help manage it. And when you have no money, you either cope with the fact that you can no longer afford luxuries, or you go get your bread up. Time and time again, he lied to people's faces, scammed hardworking business owners, and forged documents just to surround himself with meaningless possessions. Watches, chains, giant TVs, luxury beds.
Man, he's just a materialistic fucker, bro.
It was about ego, about clinging on to an image he could no longer afford. And because Sean built his life on exploiting trust for shallow status symbols, it's no surprise that nobody cares about his downfall. So when he finally landed himself in jail, it wasn't shocking, it wasn't tragic, it was the inevitable conclusion of someone who got exactly what they deserved.
Facts. Well, that was a good video from Pat CC, man. Fuck with Pat. See y'all next Monday for his shit, for his next upload. And yeah, this nigga Sean, bro, like, he completely fucked this shit over, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That nigga completely fucked this shit over. Hell no, bro. Hell no, hell no, hell no. And successful songwriter and yet in prison. That's man. End up richer than singers. And can't share it only best with me. Many first remember in your life like this. Not to mention, you don't have to maintain a brand or public persona to sell studios with artists and make hits. So it's a waste of talent and opportunity. I agree, bro.